Hey guys, welcome back to Stanley Boy Reviews. I am your host, Stanley. I don't know how to press record. I thought that I was recording for the last minute and a half, but I wasn't. So let's try this again. I am so happy to be here to be talking about your favorite horror films, my favorite horror films. This month is Love Hurts Month. We are going to be talking about young love, heartbreak, sex, betrayal, murder, obsession, dirty secrets. That is why this next film that we're discussing fits the bill perfectly. It is 2000's underrated, underseen, and what I consider to be a classic, Cherry Falls. It is nuts. It deserves a lot of attention that it never really seems to get. Before we get into it, please take this moment to subscribe. Even if you don't subscribe, share it, leave some comments, leave some feedback. It really makes a difference. I'm gonna have a seat, go grab something to drink, grab a fucking Twinkie, whatever it is that you do while you're watching these things, and let's talk about Cherry Falls, because it's a fucking trip.
I finally came back for you.
Stanny.
I'm going to twist your back like mine, so you'll never get out of bed again. Never get out of bed again. Never get out of bed again. Get out of bed again. Get out of bed again. Get out of bed again.
Cherry Falls, where to begin? It is a horny movie, directed by Jeffrey Wright. A lot of people might not know who Jeffrey Wright is. I don't even know who Jeffrey Wright is. He directed a 1992 neo-Nazi movie starring Russell Crowe called Romper Stomper. That's really all I know about him. It was written by a guy named Ken Selden, some very horny guy. I don't really know anything else about Ken Selden. It was supposed to get a theatrical release in August of 2000 and then again in November of 2000. I remember reading this script that got leaked the summer that I was 13. This script was fucking wild. I remember it being super bloody, super sex-filled, and just about a bunch of teens getting nailed to trees, where all these kids were having sex under this big flowing white sheet, and all these hymens were exploding and splattering against these white sheets. Like, it was really disgusting. Like, there was a lot of stuff that I was thinking to myself, like, how is this going to play out on a theatrical screen? I was also really excited as a 13-year-old teenage boy. I was wondering how I was going to get a ticket to it. But August came and went, nothing happened. And then I remember seeing a trailer for it on television and seeing that it was getting a network premiere. Turns out USA Films, because there's a USA Films, bought it. Fun fact, to this day, Cherry Falls is the most expensive television movie ever made. It didn't get a theatrical run, and it ended up getting picked up by USA Network. This was right in the midst of the whole Scream peak. The fact that a slasher movie was going direct to cable, it was a pretty strange, weird, kind of a big deal. And I had read the script, mind you, so I knew like what was supposed to happen, what to expect. It didn't happen the way that I had expected for it to happen. It was very watered down from what I had read. And that's because it was made for television, essentially. I remember really liking Brittany Murphy's performance. I just remember really wanting a lot more than what I received, especially being a horny 13-year-old boy. Then I forgot about it. Then in 2015, Shout Factory released a special edition Blu-ray that is gold. And I owned that, and there's like some special features on it that gave a lot of background on the troubled production history and why it went to television, why it got bought by USA Films, etc., etc., etc. But let's talk about the plot. Cherry Falls is about a small town in West Virginia, or Virginia. There is a 16-year-old girl named Jody Markin, played by Brittany Murphy. Rest her soul. I really love Brittany Murphy, you guys. I always have. I'm a big Brittany Murphy fan. And to me, this is one of her best performances. No matter what anybody thinks of this film, this is one of her best performances. And she is the daughter of the local sheriff. Her mom is kind of a drunk. Everybody at her high school is basically just like a horny teenager. Everybody in this movie is super horny, including the parents. Everybody just seems like they kind of want to fuck each other. It's very weird. Everybody seems like they want to get into each other's pants. And if you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Jody seems to be the key target of a killer who is on the loose in this town. The killer is targeting virgins, and that sends the entire town into a frenzy. The kids end up organizing a Pop Your Cherry Ball, or what they also refer to as Hymen Holocaust. Their word, not mine, where these kids all plan to lose their virginity so they can remove themselves from the victim list because they don't want to die.
Don't you want your first time to be something beautiful, something romantic?
And that's what I mean. This movie is severely wild, and for 2000, really pressing some serious buttons, if you know what I mean. It's kind of up to the sheriff, Jodie's dad, played by Michael Bean, the guy from Aliens. There's kind of a connection to past events that happened, and he needs to figure out how to stop this killer before this killer catches his daughter and kills her. There's a really uncomfortable scene where he has to question his daughter and kind of ask his daughter whether or not she's a virgin and see if he can kind of get her to go further than she's already gone.
Can you go further?
All the parents are terrible. There's an event that happened 27 years ago where a woman was raped by a gang of football players, and it kind of connects to Jodie and her friends today. That's me not spoiling much, if anything. We're not spoilers here at Stanny Boy Reviews. I just watched this movie on a rewatch for the first time in quite a while. I was thinking to myself, man, if they would have just filmed this the way that they wanted to film this, it wouldn't have made it. They got away with a lot, considering. I'm actually pretty happy that it turned out the way that it did, because it's still a pretty good movie. It has some flaws. Brittany Murphy is solid. She is always solid in anything she does. She commits 150% with any project, even in the later years when she was kind of going through her own personal matters. You just feel for her as an actor, as a character, and as Jodie, she really gives it her all. Michael Boone, whatever his name is, he's okay. There was a few moments where I kind of wanted a little bit more from him, but I think that's the script's fault. Candy Clark is the mom, and she just cracks me up. Some of her facial expressions are so funny. I feel like she's like the horniest character in the movie. I loved her a lot. Gabriel Mann plays Jodie's boyfriend Kenny, and he looks like he's on heroin the entire time, and he looks like 50 years older than Jodie, and it kind of took me out of it. He's like a big reason that my rating for this film is a little bit lower than it should be, because he is just terrible casting, and I wish that he was played by somebody else. The rest of the cast is fine. Any problem that I have with the cast, I really think, is the writing. The music is also kind of a problem for me, because there are times where the score is super somber and super eerie and weird and like kind of like screaming. And then there are times where there's like this weird amped up techno score when there's chase scenes, and the chase scenes are really good. There's a part in the high school where Jodie is looking around, kind of trying to find out if someone's like stalking her, and then it turns out that she is being stalked by the killer, and then she's being chased, and there's this weird techno score. It's not good. There's also kind of a flashback scene that is a little unnecessary. I think that the story being told could have been told without the flashback scene happening, but whatever. I blame the director on that one. So yeah, Cherry Falls, man. I'm introducing something new here called Stanny's Stabometer. Instead of just giving this a basic rating from like 1 out of 10, we're just gonna keep this simple and go from 1 out of 5. We're gonna call this a solid 3.5. It tells a good, solid story. There are times when it's silly and a little over the top, but I mean, what slasher movie isn't? It takes itself seriously when it needs to take itself seriously. I think there's some good nostalgia there for me, because it came out when I was so young and I remember really looking forward to it. I find myself watching this maybe once a year. If you haven't seen Cherry Falls, I recommend watching it specifically for its batshit storyline. Scream set the standard for certain rules, and Cherry Falls kind of broke a few of those rules. Really watch it for Brittany Murphy. Watch anything for Brittany Murphy, because Brittany Murphy is just grade A. I want to know what you guys think, as usual. If you haven't seen Cherry Falls, check it out. If you have seen Cherry Falls, drop a comment in the comment box below. Let me know what you think. Stay safe. Let me know. Oh shit, I moved this. Stay safe, you guys. I really appreciate you being here. Follow me on Instagram. Link is right here. And also follow me on Twitter. I'm on Twitter now. I don't think I've ever mentioned that before, but that is right here as well. See you soon.